Looking at my Gucci, it's about that time. Josh Pate College Football Show on Twitter at Josh Pate CFB joins us every Thursday at 7:40 to talk all things college football. Good morning, Josh. If you were to wager a month's paycheck on one team to win the national championship right at this moment, who are you laying it down on?
That's not bad feedback. That's me making a weird noise with my mouth. I can't answer Miami because that's Mario, and no one wants to hear that up there. I can answer Ohio State, but that's a conference opponent. And by the way, what I'm doing here is pandering. I don't actually want to give you an honest answer. I just want to score points. So, hey, I got one. Oregon.
Hey,
wow,
there you go.
that's weird.
You know, you subscribe to a show on
YouTube.
YouTube. It's easy. All you got to do is click the button. It's very simple. You can hear these kind of takes every night. It sounds like, based on what I'm hearing from you, because like all jokes aside, people that are up here with Mario, I think they would just say they don't trust his clock management, or there's something in his coaching in game that would lead them to that. It sounds like you actually really do think that team could be built to do it, though. All jokes aside.
Oh, dude, they're good. They're good now. They're not. I'm going to hesitate to say this, so I'm going to say it, but in lowercase. Pretend I'm saying this in pencil. They don't have many weaknesses. Now, why I say that in lowercase is we've only seen a couple of games, 3 games or whatever, and they haven't faced really a passing game that can fully test their secondary. So we could have still a pretty flawed secondary that just hasn't been exposed yet. There could be that crack in the dam. We just haven't gotten the water pressure, my favorite metaphor. But they've got a great offensive line. They got a great stable of tailbacks. They ended up hitting a grand slam with Carson Beck at quarterback. They lost their top 6 dozen or half dozen pass catchers, and they seem upgraded somehow. I don't know how you do that. Well, yeah, I do. The portal is how you do that. And they went and got Corey Heatherman as their defensive coordinator, and at the very least, their defensive production looks significantly improved. The best compliment I could give is you don't need to look at their stats. If you just go pop on a condensed game, just watch how hard they play. They may not always be in the right place. They are hair on fire every play, wire to wire, and I trust that at least the floor of that defense is going to be good enough. It could be great, by the way. I'm trying to be conservative on this. It could be really good. I just don't want to get hurt. You know I don't want to get hurt.
Well, we all know it's not your fault if they don't do it, right? It's it's
their
the player's fault.
yeah.
It's Mario's fault. But, we know where to share the blame here. I do credit you, too, because there is interest in that game in Miami this weekend. Is Lagway going to throw 5 picks again? Does Napier get turfed in Miami, or before jumping on the plane again? But I think you're making the right call in where you're going this weekend. Now, I have, a lot of family in the Omaha, Nebraska area. I've had the chance to go to a few Nebraska games in my life. We were there when Oregon and Nebraska played. I want to say that was 2016. One of the greatest stadiums. Where's the excitement level for Nebraska, Michigan, and checking a new stadium off the list this weekend?
It's a 10 because I've not, like you said, I've never been there, and I've been to I think I've been to every other place that would be quote unquote bucket list ish, except this one. I haven't been to this one, so we got that going on. Going up there with Compton and Lewan, so we got the whole Bus and Bowl angle going on with Michigan and Nebraska. We've got a CBS game, so I get to see a lot of my former employees, some of whom I miss, others of whom just exist. And so I'm looking forward to that. And I am also, I love the professionalism, and I am also looking forward to this whole concept that I have bought into. It's not, therefore it's not propaganda. It has to be fact because I bought into it. And that is year 3 Matt Rule is just this scientific thing wherein great things happen. And if that is true, then it will start to happen this Saturday. So I have predicted a Nebraska win. I'm going to be there. I was there when Tennessee took down Alabama, and I've never witnessed euphoria like that. The literal show called Euphoria on HBO Max was not as incredible as the euphoric nature of Tennessee taking down Alabama. And I don't recommend either of you watch that show because you'll lose faith in the youth of America, but I did watch it just so I could have a comparative analysis ready. I think if Nebraska beats Michigan, it will match the euphoria that Tennessee had when they were beating Alabama because these people have been through it. I talk about them like they're a tribe out on an island somewhere. These people have been through it, and they've had the close loss, the one-possession game stat for a number of years, and they had the Mike Riley era and the tail end of the Bo Pelini era, and just a lot of forgettable eras. The whole Nebraska Eras Tour is one to forget. If they can get this one, they don't lock up anything, of course, but I think it is a giant psychological hurdle cleared. And so when I tell you it's a 10 out of 10, it is really on the excitement scale, a 10 out of 10.
Well, follow up on that, Pate, because this is something you talked about, and we talked about going into the year with you, of, one of the narratives that you pointed to in the Big Ten Conference for a long time is, what is that next tier, and can anybody rise out of that next tier? Is it anything more than Oregon, Penn State, and Ohio State, or is it a deeper race than that, right? I'm just curious now that and maybe it's Nebraska this weekend. Maybe it's the Huskies for you. USC has been making some noise. They got Michigan State on Saturday. Illinois, Indiana play an interesting game, and then Illinois gets USC at home in the big new kickoff. Where are you at on that second tier of the Big Ten, and are you a believer that one of those teams has the ability to scale up and join a Ohio State, Oregon, and Penn State?
Well, so that's twofold. I'm still out on it. That's why we're going to play games like this. That's why we got Illinois, Indiana coming up, but really I'm more looking forward to USC, Illinois. So that's part one. Part one is just we have to see those teams do it. Part two is we still got to peg where Ohio State really is, where Oregon really is, where Penn State really is. Because I'm watching the SEC, for example, and I don't know that there's a shelf one team down there. I look at it as a bunch of them on shelf two and a bunch of them on shelf three. There also may not be any shelf fours. It's just all compacted towards the middle. I don't think that's the Big Ten. I certainly know there's some bottom shelfers in the Big Ten. My goodness, are there some shelf fours in the Big Ten. Some of them are on the ground. Like, they're down below the non-name brand cereal. That's how bad some of the bottom of the Big Ten is. But as far as that tier one, tier two, yeah, I agree. I'm really about to say this. I agree with myself. I made a good point on that. I'm completely on board with myself. That is still the biggest story in that conference, but I don't know that we've seen it start to play itself out. I think we've got a bunch of games, this one included, that are sort of circle games to starting to put those puzzle pieces together.
This is Josh Pate. He joins us every Thursday at 7:40, diving into all things college football. He'll be in Lincoln, Nebraska, to where I'll be curious to hear the show come Sunday. I know you love to dabble in the loudest venue. I know when you went to Autzen for the first time, for example, you had noted how incredibly loud Autzen Stadium is, and you have talked about that before. That, to me, I've heard Autzen loud. That Lincoln game where we went in 2016, Dirt, when Oregon went for two every time and lost.
Yeah, thanks for that reminder.
Dude, my ears were ringing. It's probably one of, if not the loudest venue I've been to, so I'll be curious to hear your feedback on that on Sunday. You can find Josh on YouTube with the Josh Pate College Football Show. You already subscribed to it anyway, and give him a follow on socials at Josh Pate CFB, and follow him on Instagram. Look for the Ramen Noodle Express picks on Friday night lines. In the way that many in my life, and probably your life as well, especially out west, we would hear how Arizona State's a sleeping giant. And, most of it was just people pointing out how hot the women were, and football players would gravitate towards that. They largely never won and accomplished much. Well, Kenny Dillingham comes in, boom, they win the Big 12. Is Texas A&M kind of the next the ASU of my life, where my whole life it's A&M, and it's cultish, and it's, oh, look at all these people yelling, but they never quite accomplish stuff until maybe Elko. Is Elko the thing to make A&M finally worth all the hype?
Here's what I appreciate about you and this entire radio station, this entire vibe that I get anytime that I come on with you guys. You don't even skirt up against what they say about Texas A&M in the South. You are too mature. You are too professional. Let me tell you what the knock is about A&M in the South. How in the world is a university with no female cheerleaders about to do anything in this conference? That's what they yell in your face. And you guys are above that.
Wait,
You're
they don't have any female cheerleaders at A&M?
it.
They don't have female cheerleaders?
Oh, buddy. If you're serious about this, I've got some material I got some literature I need to send you. Yeah, it's a different world. You use the word cult and you have no idea what kind of can of worms I'm about to open for you if you're really unaware of what A&M is about.
I mean, I've seen the singing and the chanting and
so the guys in overalls are their cheerleaders.
It's the only overall guys? They have no females on the sideline?
I can't, in strong enough terms, encourage you to come to a game.
Okay.
They don't call them games; they call them experiences.
Of course,
you need to come to an experience. Texas A&M with me. Look. So let me quickly answer your question.
Yeah.
Yes, A&M's that next team. Okay. Now that the question's answered, let me get back to this. I kid you not. I got some executive types, some management types from CBS where I was at last year, and we were going to go to an A&M game. Now, these are Manhattan elites. These are Martha's Vineyard sweater vest types. So they've never even been like east of Brooklyn, never mind being to the heartland of America. And so I convinced them to come with me. And I hit up Billy Lucci, who's about as tied in as could possibly be at A&M. And I get sideline passes, and I get access to like the best country clubs on Friday night, because a country club in College Station, Texas, and Bryan, Texas, is insane. You go out in the middle of nowhere, and everybody's a billionaire, by the way. They all got like button-down T-shirts tucked into blue jeans with no belt. It's the craziest thing you've ever seen. Everyone's worth $1 billion, and there are lit torches, and they do the same things you see on game day. They do what is called the Aggie War Hymn, which is where they all interlock arms, and there's just this chanting, and I truthfully, I still don't even know what they're saying, but they're going back and forth, and this is not at a game. This is like right in line with saying grace before they eat supper. And I'm telling you, it was probably 63, 64 degrees. I've never seen management sweat like that. They knew they were out of their element immediately. They were looking for the exit door, and there are none. There are only entrances. There are no exits. I could not have had a better time. I love it, man. I blend in out there. I'm not of them, but I blend in out there seamlessly. I wear the white T-shirt. No one's coming for me if it goes sideways. But management was, they were looking for the escape route.
You're an adopted member of the tribe. That is a phenomenal story. And now on my bucket list to get to a game, talk about bucket list for you, Nebraska. I got to get to a game down there. Now, I do want to ask, Oregon plays Oregon State this weekend. It's a Civil War. Oregon State fan is very angry that the game is going to be continued and the programs have separated conferences. And if you want to have an answer on that, you can if you have any thoughts on that game. But also, I do think the majority of people on one side of this rivalry are looking towards what's happening next week. And I'm just curious to get an early look at Oregon-Penn State for you. Penn State has played nobody, but who has played anybody, right? Majority of teams haven't faced anybody tough. They've been sluggish out of the gate. Now they get a bye. That's lovely timing. And do we want to make a Fall Don't Lie tour announcement maybe on a Thursday the week before?
This is one of those rare cases where I tell you I don't know where I'm going, and I'm not lying. Most of the time I'm just lying to your face. But this time I really don't know where I'm going yet. I am actually having conversations about that this morning because I do believe that I'm going to pull off a twofer next week.
Ooh, there you go.
So we've got the morning slate, and I got to get through this quick because I got to answer your question. You've got Notre Dame at Arkansas or USC at Illinois. Those are 11 a.m. Central kickoffs. And then you could pair that with either Alabama at Georgia or Oregon at Penn State in the night. So that's the extreme first world problem I'm dealing with next week. As for this week, I really don't know what you can say about it because you know me. I mean, you guys have known me for a long time, so you know I love the more pageantry, tradition-based aspect of college football. I think it's insane that Oregon's in the Big Ten, but they are. And I think it's insane that rivalries have had to take a back seat to, the reshaping and reimagining of college football, but that's happened. So do I wish that the Civil War was an absolute focal point of this week's slate? Yes, I do. But even I'm thinking about Oregon-Penn State more so than that game. And I don't like myself for it. I'm going to go shatter every mirror in my apartment so I don't have to look at myself. But, yeah, that's even where my head's at. So I can't blame them.
Yeah. Winner of Utah, Texas Tech, the Big 12 winner in your estimation?
Any other conference, I would say yes. And the Big 12, I would still probably say yes. It's just I've learned don't assume things about that conference because it's crazy. I will say, what kind of twisted storyline would it be if we get separation in the Big 12? There is a clear 1-2 or 1-2-3, and it's another conference like the SEC that looks like the Big 12 where everything's just blended at the top. I think I just wrote a segment for tonight's show, by the way. You guys always help me on this.
There you go.
Is the SEC the new Big 12? What a headline. What a thumbnail that'll be. That'll drive those clicks and drive that engagement. But, yeah, I think so. I think you're looking at the best O-line versus D-line matchup in that league this year. I mean, I was talking to Joey McGuire, who, for the unfamiliar, is the head coach at Texas Tech, and he said, what I love about our team is we imported all these guys. Everyone thinks it's a bunch of mercenaries, and it's not. I'm in the building. They aren't. I get it. But he said, we got multiple guys who started for us on D-line last year that were good, that are not going to start for us this year. And it's not that they're bad character. It's not that they're hurt. It's not that they left. We recruited over them, and they've handled it well. And I'm like, All right, well, we'll see. You know, when the live action starts in the fall, well, this is kind of it, because you're going to go on the road in Salt Lake City, 10 a.m. kickoff. McDonald's still serving breakfast when the biggest game in your conference kicks off. Phenomenal planning.
Well done.
I've got Texas Tech slightly in that game, but really I don't have a feel for it. I'm just going to enjoy watching it.
It's going to be a good one, man. I'm looking forward to the slate this weekend. You'll be in Lincoln, Nebraska, and I'm looking forward to the show tonight with the Dirt and Sprague, my guys out in the West Coast.
Yeah.
Shout out on that show. It's going to be fantastic. Josh Pate, Josh Pate College Football Show on YouTube, at Josh Pate CFBB in Lincoln with Bussin' with the Boys. Thank you so much, Pate State University, for making a kindly stop and talking college ball with us.
I appreciate it, guys. Have a good one.
All right, there we go. Good stuff. Josh Pate of the Josh Pate College Football Show. He'll have his episode tonight, and then he'll peruse around college football. He'll be in Lincoln. He'll experience what it's like to be at Memorial Stadium, right?
Memorial Stadium,
and
Lincoln,
then
Nebraska.
You'll get his feedback, because I do think it's going to register on the loud meter for him of environments
sure.
he's been at. Again, my
yeah.
ears were ringing when they got one of those big crucial stops of Oregon in 2016.
And this is a time when that fan base is truly believing that this is the year. This is the moment. This is a game that they have to have. The atmosphere when they beat Colorado was incredible last year. A lot of that had to do with, one, the rivalry, the Deion stuff. They lost the game the year before in Boulder. This one is going to be probably on another level, especially if they win or they look good doing it. It's going to be outrageous how loud it gets. I love the idea there at the end of that segment, too, of like, who is the best team in the SEC? Probably Georgia, your answer right now, but I don't know if we feel great about that. Texas was supposed to be it. They haven't looked great. Tennessee looks better than I thought. Alabama's already lost a game. Do we trust LSU's offense with an injury to the quarterback? Like, the SEC is very interesting this year.
What was the thing you introduced him to last year that he ended up using?
Pucker meter.
Pucker meter?
Pucker meter. Yeah, where's the pucker meter at for ups? You know, where's your pucker meter at?
I'm going to put it at plus money here. Do we finally get a shout out on the program?
Yeah, he stole the pucker meter from us, but he's doing free.
Yeah.
He comes on the show. He doesn't ask for anything, and so we
just gave him a segment idea.
We just gave him a segment idea.
That's a pretty big deal.
I will be tuned in as I am on every Thursday to see what he says tonight.
Good stuff. Our good friend Josh Pate on Twitter at Josh Pate CFB.